Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's session for our Student in the Workplace Virtual Connection. We're happy to have you here. Welcome back if you've joined us before, and welcome if this is your first time joining us. We are able to present these sessions in conjunction with Northwest PA Job Connect, so we thank them for their support, and we're happy to have everyone with us this morning. This morning we have Lori Deaver. She's the Workforce Development Manager and Director of Safety and Health at Industrial Sales and Manufacturing. She's going to be sharing with us for the next half hour about her role and the organization that she works for. A few logistical things before we get started. We do have a live Q&A for this session. If you are interested in submitting a question, you will navigate, for most of you, it'll be the top right-hand corner of your screen. There's a little chat bubble there with a question mark in it that will show the Q&A on your sidebar, and you can submit a question through there at any point in the next half hour, and we will make sure to at least get to all of your questions within the back half of this presentation. So at any point you can submit a question and I will make sure that we get them answered. Without further ado, Lori, I'm going to send you live and we'll get started. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you for asking me.
We are happy to have you. Lori, if you just want to start, give us an overview of what your job is and who you work for.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. And as Ann had mentioned, I'm Workforce Development Manager for a contract manufacturer in Erie, Pennsylvania. Along with workforce development efforts, I also am Director of Safety and Health. And so what that means when you think of safety in the workplace, it's everything that we need to do to ensure a safe work environment for all those who come into work every day. And that's everything that is mandated from OSHA, which is hearing conservation, lockout, tagout, sling and crane safety, those kinds of things. So that kind of embraces the safety piece. The health piece is another hat that I wear that it is for workman's comp. So say that if someone would get hurt on the job, they come see me. I manage all of the paperwork. We get them to where they were, back to where they were before they got injured. Now it's the workforce development piece that really consumes a lot of my day. And that is to train. That is to coordinate training for employees. That's to the big piece is just developing our workforce so that we can meet the needs of our customers and requests of the company.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Knowing that every day is probably a little bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to more in depth the responsibilities where you spend the bulk of your time? So on a day-to-day basis or maybe a week-to-week basis, where are you spending a lot of your time and what are those major responsibilities?
My major responsibility is, as I had mentioned, in workforce development. So from a week-to-week basis, that can change. If we, one thing that we, as a contract manufacturer, we have a lot of requests from our customers, and especially when we're in audits. Well, right now we're doing enough virtual audits. Before the pandemic, it was where they would come and visit us for a couple of days. So my part and role in all of that is to make sure that our support staff is trained in what they're doing and how they're doing their job. And say in an audit, a customer will say, well, what deems this individual, competent, skilled and competent. So, and again, one of the beauties of my job is that one week doesn't look like the other, but in a week where we say we're preparing for an audit or we're in an audit, I mean, I'm on call. I have to generate training work records that would, at the request of a customer. And so it's that. It may be coordinating some on-job training. It could be coordinating training that requires travel. And again, not a lot of that happening right now because of the pandemic. But it's just ensuring that those who are working on parts are skilled and competent in receiving the training that they need to be able to do their job and to meet the skills. They're called KSA, which is knowledge, skills, and abilities. And on a job description, it lists all of that. So I am to ensure, part of my job is to ensure that that is all met.
Which I think is a nice kind of segue into our next question. For your job, what are some of those essential skills, soft skills that you feel like are necessary and make you successful at the work that you do?
For me, well, I was just sharing a little bit before we went live that I came from healthcare and I've been in manufacturing for 9 years. And in both of the leadership roles that I was in, some of the skills and things that I needed to have was the number one, first and foremost, is to be able to communicate. Communication is very, very crucial. Also, the ability to work in teams. You're going to find in a work environment today that you don't wear just one hat or have one job or one responsibility. You're usually involved in a lot. So that means that you're working with different people, with different personalities. And so you have to have the ability to work in teams, okay? Organization is also, having organizational skills is also very, very crucial in what I do. As I had mentioned, if I'm in an audit and I have to, I need to be able to provide documentation and evidence of an employee's training, those kinds of things. And this is all embraces that organization and being able to stay focused on a task. So those are just some of some of the skills and competencies that I've had to that I have to have.
And I appreciate the ones that you brought up. We're hearing a lot of communication and teamwork, regardless of who we're talking to or the field that they work in. It seems to be a big one. So
yes,
we are hearing that one a lot. So you mentioned how you used to work in healthcare, and I know we chatted a little bit about that beforehand. Can you speak a little bit about your career journey, if you will, and I would ask that maybe you highlight how it was, how you came to make the change that you did, and that
sure.
And
my career pathway.
Yeah, your
my career pathway. Yes, career pathways is a buzzword today. And I can tell you that when I graduated from high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I just went right into the workforce, and I was, and I started off in a dental practice, and started off as a receptionist, and then I learned chairside dentistry. And then I became the office manager. Well, then I really loved that role. I loved, being in, not as so much being in charge, but just having that responsibility. And I had, I'm a natural, I've been told I'm a natural born leader. I love to train. I love to work with people. I like to help them succeed and meeting their goals, whatever that may be. So one thing led to another, starting off in just a private practice, then moving to a local healthcare center where I was with the chief dental officer. I was overseeing 6 dental practices, several dentists, several support staff. So then one thing led to another. And again, as my responsibilities grew, I'm just like, well, maybe I want to take this to the next level. So then I started evening classes again in university, and I finished a bachelor's in management. Well, then healthcare, where middle management was eliminated in healthcare, I got caught up in all of that. So then my position was eliminated. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this downtime, and I went on for my master's. so I went on for my master's in organizational leadership. And so you see where I started off not knowing what I wanted to do, but you've got to get into the workforce and kind of figure that out. And then one thing led to another. And so I left healthcare and again finished up my master's. And then when I got done with my master's, then this position opened up in manufacturing. Well, that was okay because the skills and the competencies that I had acquired, coupled with my education, is put me in the position that I'm in now, which I absolutely love. As Ann and I were talking, there's a lot of diversity to my job. One day may not look like the other. My main focus is workforce development, but again, when I was in healthcare, I was involved in safety there. So I took not only the managerial piece with me, but also what I learned as far as safety. So then that kind of, when I started here, it was just workforce development, but then with my background in safety and everything that I've been involved in, then they kind of attached the director of safety and health. And so again, and one thing led to another, but it's all good, and I love what I do.
Yeah, and I think that's a great story because, Lori, I know you and I are both on that same page of, that not college for all. There are different pathways to get where you go, but certainly your story too, that it's okay to not know, and that you can always go back to school for whatever level that is, and that
right.
it will always be there, right?
Right.
And you had a journey that looks a little bit different.
Right. Well, it's funny because when you look at my resume, I've done a lot of different things, but it all flowed to here. And one of the things when I go into speaker in the classroom or I'm meeting with our young people, it's okay to not know right off the bat what you want to do, but you want to get out into the workforce. You want to take advantage of opportunities to acquire skills and competencies. And what a lot of employers are doing nowadays is offering training, free training. And that's such a key. And what I say all the time is, take advantage of that. It may not be the end all of what you end up doing, but you never want to regret, training opportunities, educational opportunities, because they're there. And so if, it's just some things that you need to figure out, like, do you like to work with people? Some people, don't like to have that a lot of interaction. They like to just be, say, in a job where there's not so much of that. There's always going to be a teamwork component. But, but someone like myself, I have access to a lot of people, different people, different levels within a business, whether it's, owners to, middle management, those kinds of things. So you just have to figure out the basics and things that you really like to do and build on that. But one thing that you don't want to pass up is opportunities to train.
Yeah, we love the idea of lifelong learning, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So sort of circling back to the organization that you work for, Lori, can you explain, we've learned about your role, but what are some of the other roles that students could pursue? What are the other opportunities, careers, pathways, if you will, in your organization?
Sure. You know what? We have, like any business, there is IT, there's engineering, there is supply chain management, there's marketing, there's human resources, we have customer service, sales. So we really is, whether you're manufacturing, whether you're healthcare, different arenas, these are basic fundamental areas that everybody needs. We all need each other. We need people that bring the business in, such as sales and, and having a strong customer service department. We need, then once we get that customer in, then we need our supply chain management folks that bring in what we need to make the parts, and then we've got engineering that works with the customer, right? And then we also have those who we greatly depend on. We all greatly depend on each other, but it's manufacturing. It's that manufacturing piece. It's machinists, it's welders, it's those who assemble, it's those who fabricate, who bend, and it's a big component that requires a lot of different pieces. But from a college piece, engineering, again, supply chain management, IT, marketing, human resources. From a technical piece, which is a part that a lot of our businesses are struggling and getting people to go into, is in that manufacturing, machining, welding, fabricating, those kinds of things. It's an area that if you like to work with your hands, it's the job for you. There's a lot of local businesses will train you and get you where you need to be. I know, for example, there was a grant for Work Advance, and it was for local businesses. We've been, as I had mentioned, in need of people going into manufacturing, machining, and so there was a grant that we participated in, and it was called Work Advance. There's so many, but that's just an example. And this was a young man that was looking for a career change, something that he could grow and build on. And we brought him in. The grant dollars helped to support his expenses in training. We had our part in it as well. And it was an 8-week training program. He graduated the top of his class. We are continuing. He's with us. He's been with us. And we're continuing to train and invest in him. And all he's had to do is, just work hard, give 110%. And we're continuing to train him, and he's learning and growing and doing so well. And so that's just an example. If you can get in with an employer and you really are motivated, you really want to do well, you really want to have a career in manufacturing, there are so many avenues that you can go into, and that's part of what I do, is to meet with you, work with you, meet with even parents and saying, I can sit and talk with you and show you your child's career path if that's what you really need more information on.
Yeah, so I think highlighting what both you and I already know, but the opportunity in manufacturing is most certainly there.
Yes.
And so maybe for students who are on the call, or students who are interested in manufacturing, what are a few things that you think they could be doing now in high school or middle school, if we have middle schoolers on the call, to foster that interest and make themselves really employable when they graduate?
Well, not all schools have like tracks, like a manufacturing track or a welding track. And so if you're in a school where you don't have those, but you might be interested, what that would mean is probably meeting with a school counselor and connecting with an employer who would be open to a job shadowing experience. Job shadowing experiences are really a great way, even if you don't have like a technical track in your school. If you are interested in that and really want to have more information or see what is it like a day in manufacturing, those opportunities are available. And if you go through Career Street, if you don't know about Career Street has experiences that you can get hooked into if you're curious about a certain area in manufacturing. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, and let's be realistic, it's not happening right now, but we are hopeful that if we can get beyond the spring that businesses, and I can only speak for my company, I can't speak for other businesses, but I know that that's probably not going to happen until we get beyond this pandemic. But I can definitely, we can do a virtual meeting, a virtual opportunities are there to connect with potential employers or those who are in workforce development that would be more than happy to discuss this in more detail.
Yeah, and if anyone out there is interested, I am happy if you email myself or Nick. Our contact information's on that website. Happy to put you in contact with Lori if you have any more questions or any discussion that you'd like to talk about. So Lori, a question for you. What is your favorite thing about your job? And what is your least favorite thing about your job?
My most favorite thing about my job is seeing someone, like I had just mentioned, an individual that had no experience in manufacturing and decided, you know what, I'm going to take this training opportunity and I'm going to see where it takes me. And he's doing so well and he's so happy, and it's helping people make that connection to get into a career that they really love. I mean, I love to talk about manufacturing. I love to talk about of all the career opportunities that you have. But I get my most joy out of seeing people who are happy in their work, that are so grateful for, you're part of that development and that career development. And it's just so rewarding. I know I love my job. We were talking before we went live. Is there a perfect day every day? No. But I would have to say that overall, 99%, I love my job. So what I don't like about my job, and it's in any job really, is, is sometimes it's hard to get things accomplished because there's so many hands involved. And I think, and so sometimes it gets frustrated because you just have to, and again, that's one of the challenging things in working in teams, is just being able to come together, work together, have that main goal, that main focus, and getting it done. So it's just sometimes things don't get done as quickly as I would like them to get done. But again, that's what you deal with. That's the reality in a lot of jobs.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to say is something that is not your favorite, because right. I bet a lot of people out there agree for sure. So I think you've touched on this a little bit, but can you speak to how manufacturing, does it provide opportunities for advancement?
Definitely. But like, it's not, whether it's in manufacturing, whether it's in any job that you go into, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. If you think that you're going to graduate from high school and get into a six-figure job, the corner office with the view, that's not being realistic. You have to invest in yourself, and whatever that may be. There are people that are around you who are willing to help you and assist you to reach your career goals, but you also have to be realistic. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I can tell you that it didn't happen overnight, and it took a lot of hard work. But you know what? The reward is having a job, being in an area of workforce that I absolutely love. So again, and what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Yeah, and I think that idea of patience, and coupled with your points about taking the opportunities and the training that come your way, that all kind of goes together, I think.
One thing that I always say is that you put value, what you put into yourself adds value to you and what you have to offer to your potential employer. And so that's what an employer is looking for. What can you do for me? It's not what can I do for you? It goes hand in hand. So if you come with skills and competencies, then you have add value to your potential employer. And so that's very, very important.
Yeah, and you've touched on that a little bit too. And maybe if we could just quickly speak to for you, what makes a good employee? And we've hovered around that topic, right? And we've addressed it in a couple of different ways, but to you and where you work, what makes a good employee?
Okay, and so this is not a question that I've never been asked before, and I'm very honest when I say, and I'm not HR, and sometimes I am involved. Well, of course, the recruitment part, the workforce development part, training, and those kinds of things. But regardless, if you come and you're like going to be the employee of the year for us, here's this great, new employee, but if you're not coming to work every day, you're not motivated, you're negative, you're not, we drug free. Let's just address the big elephant in the room. You've got to be clean. And whether it's in any job, it's an issue. And so we do if we have that prerogative, employees retain that prerogative. And we want you to come to work. That's why we hired you, is because we need for you to be here. So good attendance, good attitude, and being drug free. Yep. And being a team player and just being, what needs to be done, rolling up your sleeves, what needs to be done. It's that can-do attitude.
Yeah, and I think you're making a point that we've heard kind of across the board. If you're willing to show up on time, be present, have a good attitude, and be looking to kind of better yourself, that your opportunities are going to be there, and things are probably going to go well for you at your job.
Right.
Well, Lori, I'm going to leave you with the question that we kind of end all of our sessions with. So primarily, we've had high schoolers on the call. If you could give one piece of advice to our seniors out there who are trying to make decisions on what comes next and navigate all of those choices and figuring it all out, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be discouraged if you don't have it all figured out by the time you graduate. I know that I participated in some end of the school year meeting with seniors, doing interviewing, you're having some help putting a job description together. And I know some of the students there was a lot of regret, because there's opportunities in high school while you're in school to help you figure some things out, and they didn't really take that advantage of that opportunity. And so it doesn't mean that if you don't have it all figured out by the time you graduate, that you can't get it figured out. There are a lot of people out there that can connect you to people to help you. There's training, there's people like myself. You don't have to be connected to a school to, get help. And so don't feel like, oh, I messed up, I didn't take advantage of things when I could have. Yeah, it probably would have been a little easier for you, but it doesn't mean that it's still not there for you. So that's, I guess, would be my final thing. It's people like me, even, if you, and again, I go back to my work advance coworker, the grants come through that have dollars available for training. And it's on TV. We promote it. It's on TV. It's in the newspaper. There's several avenues that we use to reach out to individuals who are looking for a career change or for a job. And so just look for those. They're out there. And social media. We use social media, Facebook, all kinds of things to reach out to you. So just keep your eyes peeled for those things and know that we are here for you.
Great advice, and thank you for sharing. So Lori, thank you for spending the last half hour with us. I very much appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. And I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. So I want to say thank you again to Lori and to all of our students and classes that are on the call today. We appreciate you all spending time with us this morning. And as always, keep an eye on our webpage. That's where you can find all of the links for the upcoming sessions that we have through the middle of December. Plenty of opportunities to continue to connect. So I thank you all and wish you all a good day.